Alrighty. Let's see what it do. All right. We live. All right. So we're gonna talk about today. Yeah, we're gonna skip the introduction. I'm Anthony Washington. This is the SMP Systems Management Profit Lab. I originally called it Systems Management Cash Flow, but it don't flow. The title don't flow quite as well as I would like. But when I think of profit, I think of cash flow. Profit is what you take in and what you're able to use at your discretion after all the bills is paid. So profit, cash flow, I can use those interchangeably. Um, and my job is to just help people create systems to scale. I'm big on systems. I'm all about mastering the basics. And I think systems is a basic tenet and principle of business that a lot of people miss because we're not all of us are born entrepreneurs. Um, a lot of us are just in that hustle type mode, and when you're a hustler, especially if you have a 9 to 5 job and then you work your side hustle. Hustle culture is big right now. What gets lost is creating an actual business. A business is able to be sustainable and run without your presence on a day-to-day basis. You should be able to leave for a week or two or a month, and your business runs like a machine. So that's what I'm obsessed with. So I've been able to create a few lanes for myself, a few businesses for myself. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and profess to be a millionaire or profess, but I've done things and created things that other people haven't done. The average person hasn't done. Now, I compare myself to the Ty Lopez's, the Grant Cardones. That's who I see as my peers, even though they're not my peers. But that's who I got my sights on. I got my sights on Elon Musk. I got my sights on Bezos. That's who I got my sights on. So that's who I, in my mind, see as my peers. Now, in reality, I haven't got there. Tangibly, you can't see it, but everything starts in your mind. So I'll talk about the subconscious, and I'm more, me personally, I'm more into the what people would say the woo woo. I'm more into the spiritual, the unseen, more than the seen. But to actually bring it down to the where the rubber meets the road, you got to talk about practical practical shit. So that's what I'm gonna do. So as you can see, the title is how to create a lead magnet that actually converts. So let's talk about that. Um, this applies to any service business. This applies to any local business. I try to focus in on local businesses, service businesses, because though that is usually the least barrier of resistance or entry into the business world, into being an entrepreneur, into working for yourself, and there are some lessons that it's easy to just put up an ad and just start working, right, and start hustling. Again, we go back to hustling, but if you want to create a business is all about efficiency. So don't let me digress. Don't I? I can talk. I don't talk a lot, but anyway, the stark reality of the current online world is that we're approaching goldfish status as far as low attention span goes. If you know anything about goldfish, they have, I believe they have their attention span is like 6 seconds or less, 7 seconds or less. Also, skepticism is at an all-time high. So simply put, that means nobody is actually signing up for your email list, even with that generic free report you're trying to dangle as bait, or anybody who's learned about lead magnets knows what we're talking about. We've all been guilty of it. A free report or whatever that you dangle to try to get capture the information. So the heat is turning up more than ever for service providers to bring more value than ever. So the question is, how do we build our email list? Because that's the foundation of a service business, of any type of business, is your list. How can you market to who can you market to? The list that you can control, because you can have all the social media followers that you want, but as we've seen just recently, Facebook can shut down, Instagram can shut down, and then what do you do? As we've also seen, they can take your account, they can cancel you, and then what do you do? Do you own and control your list? So value is the name of the game, but what does that mean, you may ask? Well, it means getting creative and providing an online experience that you can't duplicate with anybody else. Let me see. I think I got an article here. No, I'm not forget. Anyway, but let's examine closely what that looks like. The first thing to remember is to try to always take a deeper dive than usual. Get specific, get current. So for example, if you're in real estate, I have a background in real estate. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I've been a real estate wholesaler. I've wholesaled over 100 properties. If you're in real estate and you're trying to attract buyers, you can create a consumer guide regarding how something like interest rates will affect loan borrowers in the current year and the current location. Get specific. If you're trying to attract sellers, you can give them access to a video explaining the climate of your local market and what are the key indicators of whether they should sell. So something like that, get real specific and try to speak to somebody specifically. Sometimes just changing the verbiage from a free report, because everybody's trying to dangle the free report in front of somebody. Change the verbiage. Instead of a free report, it's a consumer guide, or just a checklist. A lot of people just like checklists. That's more attractive. A highly effective and underrated tool to capture leads is an interactive experience such as a quiz. Quizzes that takes the engagement to another level, creates a unique experience and allows a lead basically to let down their guard where there otherwise would have been resistance. Because sometimes when people are onto you with your free reports, free guides, they know that you're only going to give so much information, and your goal is to get them on the phone with you. People are savvy. The collective consciousness is always rising. People are always getting more savvy. So you got to stay ahead of the game. So you want to engage them in more creative ways. So like I said, a quiz is a great way to engage them and also capture the information. You can get pretty creative with those things. I also have background in running a bar or a restaurant. You can do quizzes that ask prospects if they want to find out what their favorite drink says about them. I've seen that before, and that works. It actually worked on me. That's a big thing for me as a marketer. If it works on me, because I'm privy to a lot of things, if it works on me or if it captures my attention, then that is a sign that I need to take note of that and probably implement it as a tactic for my own business, or a tactic that I need to deep dive into and learn about so that I can help another business or consult another business about that. Uh, Above all, you just want to be fun. You want to invoke curiosity and or be informative. The key is getting inside somebody's head, inside somebody's mind, and analyzing every possible angle around everything that your business and how it relates to them, and really reverse engineer the the the, the buying experience or the shopping cycle. So you want to consider things and events that have to occur before they even think about or need or want your service. So think about things that happen during the sales process and afterwards. That way you can look for ways that you can lend your experience to the situation. So again, going back to real estate, part of the buying process is getting pre-approved for a loan. So while you might not be a loan officer, as a real estate agent, you have enough experience working with loan officers, so you know a different, a little bit about the financing part of it. So you want to give them information maybe about the financing. And that is your segue into, because before they can even start shopping, they got to get their financing lined up. So if you can inject your way into that process to provide some valuable information, then that's a way for you to offer a lead magnet, and the goal is to capture the information and then start nurturing that relationship. Doesn't matter the tool you're using, but I always say to just remember to master the basics. That means keeping your offer as non-threatening as possible, digestible, and with actual useful information. I'm always about over providing, underselling, over providing, right? And then my background in copywriting, I've done copywriting for Fortune 500 companies, and I've been able to generate basically millions of dollars for companies that I've seen a small percentage of, some percentage, but a small percentage of. If I ever get the opportunity now, knowing what I knew then, what I know now, I'd negotiate more equity. But I digress on that. But yeah, going back to copywriting, and I'll make another video about copywriting. But when you actually offer your lead magnet, you want to implement attention-grabbing titles and headlines, as well as just solid quality copy in every place possible. And copywriting is sales in print, persuasive sales. It's strategically placed words, being intentional about each word. Now, when I was a copywriter, I was kind of obsessed with each word, and maybe to a fault. Maybe, kind of waste time sometimes, but that's just my perfectionist makeup. But solid copy, just being strategic and intentional with your words. And then overall, most importantly, with any form of marketing, is to always be testing and tweaking. One of my favorite books is, you'll hear me, if you follow me, you'll hear me say this a million times. One of my favorite books of all times is Steal Like an Artist. And it suggests that being a fervent student and collector of art, whatever your art form is, whether it be writing, music, whatever your art is, whatever you consider your art or your vocation, being a fervent student and collector of different examples of that art, it's the surest way to gain your own piece of mastery. So in this case, with lead magnets, the art is a lead magnet and the sales funnel. So I'm very observant and a student and a collector of other marketers and other businesses lead magnets and their sales funnels. So I observe what others are doing. Like I said, if it captures my attention in a certain way, then I know to allow myself to borrow and implement ideas from those different sources. And then you just got to keep persisting, and eventually you will find some success. There's a term in marketing called A/B testing. So it's taking two different ideas and working them side by side simultaneously and see what works. And eventually you always have to change, because the nature of business, the nature of life shit is change. But that's just the nature of the marketplace, especially online. But ultimately we're gonna have to just kind of throw your lead out there, and see what brings in the catch. And you never know what will come of that. And so that's really all I have to say about lead magnets. Just wanted to make this video real quick and get that idea out there, how to create a lead magnet that actually converts. And as always, the information should be around this screen and below the screen to work with me, work with my team, and all of these things as far as lead magnets, marketing systems, lead generation. This is our expertise. This is what we do. And if you want to join the Systems Management Profit Lab, S&P Lab for short, follow the information. And let me play my commercial for you real quick.
Pardon me. Before you watch the video, if you enjoyed the content, go to anthonybwashington.com/resources. Download my books, courses, and free guides. Also, while you're there, schedule a call with me to get any of your business questions solved. Peace and blessings.
Yeah, peace and blessings.